Hey everyone, it's Always Improving, and today I'm going to be painting a watercolor portrait. First, I've pulled a few reference photos from Instagram models, and I'm going to be kind of just sketching each one and finding out which one I think will be the most fun and I think I can paint the best. So after looking at the actual reference photos and kind of sketching them out, thinking about the pros and cons, I think, well, there's two I really like, these two, but I'm not sure. I think I'm going to stick with this one. Maybe I'll do this one another time. I really did like this one, but I've already done a picture, a watercolor portrait of her before in the past. You can see it on my Instagram if you're wondering. It's actually really cool. It's one of my favorite pieces. So I think I'm going to skip her for now, and I think I'm going to do this one, maybe do this one for another video, but I'm going to stick with this one. Here's the image. I'll put it on screen right now. You probably already saw it when I was sketching it, but yeah, let's focus on this and sketch it a little more. And now that we've finished those sketches, we can move on and take out my watercolor paper. As you saw, I'm using Arches watercolor paper, and I really do love it. I don't use it for everything, but it's good for final products, so that's what I'm using today. And right now, I'm just going to go in and transfer my sketch over onto this watercolor paper. Now that the watercolor sketch is finalized, I can bring out my paints. And here we are. All of my watercolors are out. I've got some water and napkins. So I'm going to first start off with a base coat for her skin, and then we'll move on and see what I feel like doing next. While this color is a bit lighter than her actual skin tone, I'm going to go back in and fix it up later, but for now I want to add base colors to everything else, like her hair, more skin tones down here, and probably her tank top here as well. With the large areas of color done, I'm going to move on now to smaller areas that still need color added, such as the mouth and the eyes. I think I'll work on those just to get all of the color put down, and then we can work on shading. At this point in the video, I think I lost some footage. I'm not really sure what happened, but all that was missed was just a little bit of darkening of the hair, and I had said that I wanted to really darken up the hair and bring in a few different more tones because I felt it was looking a little too gray. So that's what you missed, and that's what I'm going to be doing, just adding a few more darker browns into the mix of her hair. The hair's not done yet, but I'm at a good stopping point and it's still a little wet. So I'm going to move on and shade the skin a lot more because her skin tone's a lot darker than this and has some undertones I didn't really capture with the first layer. So I'm going to go in and add some more details to the skin and wait for the hair to dry as well. I've already done one layer, and oh, there's another layer. This skin took a long time. For a while, all you'll see me doing is just layering on and layering on and layering on shadows after shadows of brown paint. Now, it was a warm colored brown paint, but it really wasn't red. It was really, I don't know, it was just a darker tone of what I thought her skin would be. And it didn't look great, and I was really disappointed with it. But also, I didn't start with a dark enough layer, so I had to keep layering and layering and layering. And part of that is watercolors. You're meant to layer with watercolors, but part of that is me being a little nervous to put on a really dark color and have it be permanent on there. And I know it's not permanent. I, of course, can pick it back up, but I didn't want to just put a heavy mark on there with a dark color, and so I think I learned a little bit from that. If you start with darker colors, you don't need to do as many layers, but yeah, I did a lot of layers for her skin, as you can see. Aside from her skin, you really can see me working on her hair a lot. I went in with a lot of different colors, trying to get it to look more realistic and have a lot of different tones in it. I used yellow, I used that kind of warm colored brown that I was talking about earlier. I also just used the brown straight from the pan. It took a little bit of trial and error to get colors that I really liked. I even used green and red to mix my own brown at one point. I tried to use blue and orange, but it was kind of turning out a little gray, and I really didn't want her hair to look gray, so I was trying to play around with different saturated colors to make a good brown that would really make her hair look more realistic. I think it was about here where I realized, wow, her skin looks a little sickly, a little gray maybe. So I decided to mix some good red toned skin color and finally add that to the piece. And once I did that, I was liking the piece so much better. That was another lesson I really learned from this painting, is how red the skin is. I think even when I draw people with paler skin, I don't add enough red to it because I just don't think it needs it. And so when I'm turning around doing a more tan person, like this picture was supposed to be, I didn't add red to it. And when I just darkened the saturation, it almost looked gray. So in the future, I definitely will know to use more red in my skin tones. And you can see me doing that in this piece near the end as well. And even after I add the red and have done all those layers, I still go back and fix the skin multiple times, adding better shadows, deeper shadows, because again, I did not do dark enough tones in the beginning, so I continually built up more and more shadow, which I think in the future I can do more quickly with a darker and more saturated color right from the get-go, but for this piece it took me a couple of layers to do that. Now I think I've kind of gotten the hair and the skin mostly figured out. There's a few things I'll do throughout the end of the video, but now I can move on to the lips and her facial features, really, like her nose, her her eyes, some of her eyebrows too, but I really needed to go in and define that. So I started with her lips and kind of moved on and slowly did all of the facial features. One thing I did do for the lips that I think worked out pretty well, I used white. And I know white is kind of a controversial color in the watercolor community because you're supposed to just use water to lighten your colors, but I really like using white to make things more transparent and still be light. For example, on her top lip especially, I used a pink that was really influenced by that white color, so it wasn't transparent, it was opaque, and I was able to get a really good tone for her upper lip and kind of the lower part of her lower lip where it connected with her skin, and I really like how I ended up doing those lips. I think they looked pretty realistic. Here's where I really started to like the piece a lot. I added deeper shadows even after all those layers. I began to add her freckles to her face. I really just finalized all those details, and I really think it brought together the piece in the end, especially the freckles. I like how they turned out. I didn't do them too numerous and I didn't do them too dark. I did them in pretty good tone, I think. After finalizing just a few more things, darkening her hair and fixing her lips just a little bit, it is time for the end of this painting. I had to take off the paint and then I was able to sign the piece, and that's it. I really hope you enjoyed watching this process video. I really enjoyed this portrait. It did take me a long time, but I learned some valuable lessons from it. So I really hope you enjoyed watching it, and thank you for watching it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!